Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Odur Chigero, and this is Dialogues with Chigero. Now, a few days ago, I started with General Maurice Matheka Masimba, and it blew the internet, you know. And so today we are even live on TikTok. We are with TikTokers live here. We are welcoming you to this live, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this wonderful, wonderful chat with Maurice Matheka, sexologist. Somebody call you a psychosexologist.
Fantastic. Anything goes.
You know. And so thank you very much for joining. I hope that you have subscribed to Dialogues with Chigero, the YouTube channel. You are following us on TikTok, and things are good. People want you back, man. They want you back. They want you. They want
I'm glad to be back.
The thing that is really people are not very. They're very interested about in knowing is about dating.
Okay.
Because there are so many dynamics around dating, and so. So people are saying, okay, how do I ask a girl out? That's a question in dating.
Okay.
How do I ask her for sex for the first time?
Okay.
Okay. When we go, must I draw out the chair? Must I open that door? You know, what are some of the things that I should be able to do? And these things are traditional. Are they traditional? What is going on here? Because a lot of men are very confused about dating. Because on one end, the ladies are saying, I can take care of myself. On the other side, you should be able to carry them flowers and do all these things for them. So I think it's very confusing for the men these days. And also for women, they're wondering, I mean, men used to do great things to us. They're no longer doing it. They have shied away. They don't want to, when we tell them no, they are gone because they are saying, okay, a yes means a yes, a no means a no.
Right.
To start us off,
I
want to say welcome to Dialogues with Chigero again.
Asante sana. I'm happy to be here.
Number two, I want you to give me a general overview of what you think about dating today. Whether it is in Kenya, whether it is in England, whether it is in Philippines, whether it is in St. Lucia. What is your overall? What is wrong with it? What is right with it right now?
I think what's wrong with it, if I can use that word, is no one looks at why they want to date. Unless they're following a conveyor belt. And usually the conveyor belt is, we were taught at some boy, as a boy or a girl, you're going to meet and you're going to have a relationship, and then to build on that relationship, you're going to get married, and then to build on that being married, you're going to have a family, and then you're going to have kids, and then one day you're going to die, and then your kids are going to take over. So that's a conveyor belt that we use. But most people just want to date because they don't want to be alone. Or I've gotten to that age where I want to date. I want to have a girlfriend because my friend has a girlfriend. So we have many reasons, but they all lead up to a conveyor belt system where we eventually have to now, as people say, commit. So I think some of the things that people need to look at is, why do you want to date? Do you just want to have a partner and see how it goes? Which what I subscribe to, because just because we had sex, it doesn't mean we're going to get married. You see what I'm saying? It's like when you go to a restaurant, you eat a chef's food, you don't marry the chef. So why are we marrying our chefs? We're just having a barbecue with them. Marrying the chefs could be disastrous because you could take out the passion because this chef loves cooking for many people. And now you're telling this chef they just have to cook for one person. It might not work. So we need to look at, why do I want to be in a relationship? And a lot of people I've met, a lot of people I've mentored, they're in a relationship because they're afraid to be alone. We fear being alone. We fear going out and then all our friends are coupled and I'm the only single guy. So clearly no girls like me. So that could lead to depression, my own insecurities. So the problem is, ask yourself, why do you want to date? Then now look at the platforms where you want to date. Most people want to date somebody so they can have companionship first, but then they look at marriage later. But the truth is, it's not necessary for you to get married, because I've met plenty of souls that don't belong in the marriage setting. But based on societal rules, if you're not married, then you don't qualify or adhere to societal expectations. We all are supposed to have married. We are all supposed to get married. And the funny thing is this, when you were younger, if you're a girl, you were told stay away from boys. If you're a boy, you were told you can have friends, but please don't bring a child to this house. But as you get a bit older, Now you get an indirect license to have sex. Where are the grandchildren? Why haven't you brought a boy? Why haven't you brought a girl? Basically, you're being told, now you have a license to fuck. But why do you have a license to fuck? Because you're going to be basically following this conveyor belt of that fuckery leads to having a child. And that's what they want to see. So most people don't look at it this way. Are you even compatible long term? Why am I bringing a girl just because she's going to excite my mother with her chapatis? But does she excite me long term? Do I even like chapatis? I might be allergic to chapatis at some point, or the ingredients that make chapatis. So I think dating becomes confusing when you have too many expectations. Dating should be a stage. I've met you, and another thing is this: everyone should date a bigger pool of people. Dating doesn't have to be sexual. The problem is, in an African setting, we sexualize everything to be man and woman. When I say the bigger pool is, if I want to find a woman that I'm compatible with, it makes sense to take 30 women out on a date.
How do you possibly take 30 women out on a date?
Well, number one, you must have some disposable cash because these dates will require some money. So what you do is you just find people. You're not doing it within a week. It could easily be within a year or 2 years. But you can say, I started this journey of looking for somebody compatible. It's like when you do speed dating, but speed dating is done in one location and it's done in a very fast way. And so it's called speed dating. But now over 2-3 years, I can say, I went out on a date with 30 women. We talked, we exchanged words in a polite way, and I got to profile that out of the 30, probably 5 or 2 make the bill. And make the bill means we had a vibe. Like I can see sometimes it's beyond, it's great to have somebody who you're sexually attracted to, but it's also good to have somebody who can be your friend. Because after the sex, you can bore the hell out of me. True or false? So you have to look at, why do you want to get into a relationship?
So probably
for how long?
We'll also go into the compatibility because it's a very ambiguous word.
Yes.
People don't really understand.
Compatibility. Okay, first and foremost, it changes. So I can't generalize this. What I thought compatibility was 20 years ago, when I was in my 20s, is not compatibility today. Now that I'm 48, it's different.
What is that?
First and foremost, what I want right now as a man, beyond vagina, is peace of mind. When I was in my 20s, I just wanted vaginas. I just wanted them to fly over my face, slap me headway, sleep with them, smoke with them, whatever. It was just Vaginaville. But right now, I just need...
what?
Vaginaville. But right now, I just need peace of mind. Do you know why? Because the multitude of vaginas are there. Back then, I was kind of desperate. I thought, if I sleep too long, all the other boys will take the vaginas. But now, as an older man, they're just there. Do you know what I'm saying? Now I can nap, not worrying whether I'm going to get a vagina or not. Do you see what I'm saying? But they're there. Because vaginas are also looking for men. Or should we be called penises? Who gives a shit? You get my point? So you have to look at, why are you dating? But most people are precious of, at some point, I have to commit to this person. For example, when you say men are struggling, I don't think men are struggling. I think men are struggling to understand that our relationships have evolved. Like, for example, I grew up in a society where taking out a girl for lunch, maybe for ice cream, maybe for pizza if you can afford it, and it's a privilege to hold her hand and you walk down the road or down the beach. And if you're lucky, she pecks you right over here. And once she pecks you right over here, you don't wash this side of your face for like 2 weeks. Why? Because that was a privilege. Today, it's not the same. Back then, you could buy her flowers. So I was not really a flower guy because flowers die after, 4 days. I don't want to be a flower murderer. But the point is, today, things have changed. I've met women who have said everything was going well with the date until he presented flowers. Now, to her, flowers meant he's weak, he's smitten, he's not a man. So I think those are the struggles. But we'll only get to know those struggles if we meet a larger pool of men. It is wrong for me to just meet one woman and put all my needs on you have to deliver.
You have to try one man for 6 months, try one woman for 6 months.
No. Go out on a date. 6 months is too long. 6 months means we've already committed to some sexuality. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, if even the men who are in this room can attest that every time you have sex with a woman, you feel obligated to see her again. Even though in your head you're thinking this should just be a one-day thing, a one-night thing. Yes, things happen where you even cross the line.
Do you think it is like that because women think it should be like that? That if you sleep with me,
no, it's like that.
You've got to have a date with me again.
It's not because women think that way. It's because we've both been taught in society that you should not hit and run. Yet it was not a hit and run. It may have just been an agreement that, you know what, let's have a night together and see how it goes. But now if you don't see her again or if you don't follow up, you feel guilty, even though Hashi's like, you know what, if I see you, fair enough. If I don't, fair enough. But you as a man, your guilt causes you to see her again, yet you know, beyond what you just did, you're not really compatible. And that's why you find 10 years later, we have 2 kids with a woman who I knew was not my compatible. But even my friends were like, hey, dude, how can you sleep with a woman and just take off? So the male ego in me says, you know what? I'm not going to be that asshole. Let me engage her. I engage her and we become boyfriend and girlfriend. We're now engaged. We get married. We have kids. But guess what? My foundation told me we're not compatible. I've done everything else based on what society wants me to do, not based on the right thing. No. Sometimes walking away saves both of us from heartache in the future.
Now the question is,
yes,
how do I get this woman? How do I get this man to know that, some of the questions, because some people are like, hey, why are you asking me that on a first date? Why are you asking me that on the second date? Why are you doing? So how do you respectfully do this? Yeah.
Good question. But already what you've described already tells me we're not compatible. If somebody has to tell you that, hey, that question you've asked, can you ask me out on the 3rd date? Then they're not your compatible. There's somebody else is compatible. They're not yours. The problem is now you want to adjust yourself to them. You're adjusting yourself. You're not being yourself. Do you see what I'm saying?
Are you saying that if you are being yourself, then they see the compatibility?
When you're being yourself, then by the end of that date, and a date is just coffee, we're having a conversation. Dating is as the way you go to a job interview. That's dating. The only problem is during the coffee, everyone is on their A game. Everyone is trying to tell the other what they think the other wants to hear, rather than just saying, for example, if you go on a date with me as a woman, you're going to find out that I'm man enough to speak for what I like. If that woman happens to walk off, she has that right. She's not a bad person. What she has said is, whatever's coming out of Maurice's mouth is not what I align to. Whereas there's another woman who'll be sat there and she'll be like, oh my God, why didn't I meet you 15 years ago? Because you align with your truth. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you look at men are not born liars. We just live in an environment where we constantly have to lie. And we lie is because we tend to think women want to hear our bullshit. Yet there are women who are ready to hear, I am sexually attracted to you right now. If I could do crazy things. And she tells you, yeah, I've been doing the same thing. As we're having this coffee, I don't even think we're having another date. I think you and I are now going to have something. Voila. You and I think alike. You see the way you're smiling? But then there'll be another, and it's because I'm liberal, so she's liberal enough to understand.
You said that my face lit up and everybody was up in arms on TikTok.
No, but your face does light up. Your eyes never lie. Your eyes never lie. Yeah? So my point is this. There's no right or wrong way. It's just you've got to present who you are. For example, if I'm on a date with a woman, there's one question that has to come out. If I'm sexually attracted to you, is it wrong that I would like to have sex with you right now? I'm not asking her that question so we can have sex. I'm asking her the question to see how our facial expression will be. If our facial expression is very surprised by that question, it means she may be the woman who likes playing the 30-day, 90-day rule. Now, I will humbly back down and say, I'm clearly not your kind of guy, because I'm not going to wait for 30 days. Do you see what I'm saying? because you're not the only outlet I can eat at.
Women and some other people play this game.
No, they play this game. No. You've got to look at where the game came from. Don't blame women or men.
Okay.
The game came from that conveyor belt of you have to keep a guy at bay for 90 days so that he can prove he's committed. Apparently a man who stays for 90 days, but you have to look at it this way. Back in the day, it was normal for a guy to go even for a year without having sex with a woman. Why? Because back then, what drove his ego was, I'm going to chase for this skirt, and I'm going to gain her favor, then I'm going to meet her parents, and then I am now going to be embraced as a man, and then now, moving from there, we'll discuss sexuality. But that dynamic has changed. Today, we meet each other at Art Cafe, Java, dinners, restaurants, and the motive is always, hopefully, after we have this main meal, we can have each other for dessert. Are you in or out? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with asking. What I don't like are pretenders. First and foremost, I hate men or women who pretend that you don't want it right now. If you want it right now, do you go to a restaurant, ask for food, and then when the food comes, you tell the chef, you know what? This food looks so good, I don't deserve to eat it right now. I'll eat it next week. Do you do that? Do you do that?
No.
Exactly. So why do you have tasty vagina and tasty dick right in front of you, and you're pretending you want to have it a month later?
Because you've been conditioned that way.
Yes, but that condition only leads us to lying to one another. The worst thing I can do as a man is wait for 30 days or 90 days, pretend, you see, I'm pretending, so I'm selling to her vision. Once I wait for 90 days, she's thinking Matheka is fully committed to staying. Nothing said I'm not committed to staying, but the problem is now Matheka is having you with a bit of anger issues. You made me wait for 90 days? Oh, I'm going to show you. You ain't seeing me after I beat this shit. But when we were at Art Cafe having coffee and I told you I wanted you and you told me you wanted me, we've been having sex for 90 days since then. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now I'm not skewered to want to run away. But because I've had to wait, I'm now having sex with you with malice. I'm going to crucify this vagina and disappear. How do you keep this nigga waiting? Whereas if we just combined our energies, we'd just be having sex for 90 days and beyond. Do you see what I'm saying? The problem is there's this ideology that all men just want to have sex and run. Those are not men, those are boys. Let's put it this way. Why would you burn bridges? We had sex. We didn't kill people. We didn't murder people. We didn't steal a bank and then we had to separate for a few months for things to calm down. We had sex. So why can't we mature enough to say, even though we had sexual relations, we can still be friends? If we end up having a relationship, well and good. But I don't know why people flee. Why are you fleeing from? When you've had sex and then her vagina suddenly turned into an atomic bomb, just be mature enough to say, we can be buddies. I might be able to advise you towards men that you're dating later in life. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we have that connection, we have that bond.
Let's take 2 steps back.
Okay.
There are men who say, how do I even ask a woman out for coffee?
Open your mouth. Ask. The only thing she can say is no. The problem with humans is we expect a yes. It's important to know you will have a lot of no's in life. Life is not about yeses. When I was growing up, I was told girls are going to break your heart. And boy, they broke my heart. My heart right now is strong because it was broken. Oh, can I take you over? No. We got so many no's, I thought no was like a signboard. And then later on, as you mature, yeses come in. Why did the woman just say no straight away? There is a lady who told me a no straight away. Like, why can't we just even go and have coffee and then you can tell me no at the coffee table? Yeah.
No, just no, plain no.
Yes, but guess what? She saved you crap in the future. The only reason why if you're being honest, why no hurts you is because probably you had already envisioned how your penis would be inside her. So now you're having a debate, how am I going to tell my penis will be declined? So you should have gone for that coffee date with your conscious mind before you start inviting your penis. See, that's where us men also go wrong. just because she said yes to a coffee, she didn't say yes to sex. And guess what? You were selling yourself. That day, you didn't sell yourself too well. A week from then, she might call you and say, you know what? I think I made a mistake. Do you still want to hook up? But that's a week later. You can't make this shit up. You've got to accept a no. And no doesn't mean no forever. She might change her mind. But she has the choice to do that. Every time we take a woman out for a drink, we expect sex. Yet it's not our right to receive it.
I'm saying that I paid coffee.
And guess what? If you think it's your right, don't buy coffee. Just stay at home and wank. It's as simple as that. You know, we also have to teach men how to be men. And part of being a man is a woman says no. You know what I'm saying? Even when you think you're on your A game, and that's the worst thing, don't go on a date to impress her. Go on a date to just tell her who you are. She'll take you at face value. Don't be on your A game. Don't start telling her, you know, if you and I end up in a bedroom, you're going to climb chandeliers. You've never owned a chandelier. You can't even pronounce chandelier very well. So stop mentioning chandeliers. Just do you. Be yourself. Let her like you, character. Let her find out whether you're good in bed or not later. But first, let her just like you. But we sell, I have a project going on. Kwani, she's an engineer. What are you telling her about projects? Basically, what you're selling her is money. You're trying to tell her, I have money. Maybe my face is ugly, but I have money. Who told you that's what she's into? Find out from her. She'll tell you later. She'll lead you into knowing what she likes and what she doesn't. So why don't we just be us? And part of being us is, and that's why you see, that's why we become very deceptive, because let's assume you didn't go to a date ready to have children. You find men telling women, you know what? I feel ready. Then he pauses. Then she asks, ready for what? I don't know. I'd like to have a family. His entire sexual body is saying, bullshit. But that's what he's selling, because he's thinking, I might get some because I'm selling that I want to be a family man.
And where does he get the idea that women like family men?
He gets the idea that women like men who are focused. And most women, whether we like it or not, it's not all, but most, have that ingrained mentality of, I'd like a man who would like to have children with me and settle with me. So you're selling it during the date. And if you're clever, you're selling it in a way where you're like, you know what, one day I'd like to have a family, you know, if I meet the right person. So you're fishing. You're making the person think, maybe I'm the right person. Who knows? Oh my God. Do you see what I mean? So we're bullshit one another during the dates. If you go with a date with me, there'll be no bullshit. Yes, because I will tell you what I want from you. So I can see if you want the same things from me. Because there's no point me selling you something I think you want to hear. Because later, if we do merge together, you will say Maurice is a liar. But my lie started because that's what I used to court you. Trust me, there are women who are out there who want the same things as men. It's just, and sometimes, I've met so many women who have told me, I went out on a date, this guy brought his A game. He was telling me all the things on here, where he works, how many cars he drives, land he bought, projects, blah, blah, blah. She listened to him, and at some point she just told him, hey, boss, I am going to have sex with you, so chill. After she said that, he removed a mask, and a totally new guy was born in the same date. Now he became himself. Now they were talking about mundane things, fun things. Where have you been? Where have you like to go? Oh, I like my coffee like this. Oh, he stopped A game. And because she could see through the A game. Dude.
Do women see through the A game?
If they've had experience. Everything's about experience. Those who have not had experience will take you at face value. Unless maybe they've watched a lot of TV and that's what's given them experience. But, I mean, there's the usual norm of men are dogs. Yes? Until you're not. And some women like the dog in you. Fact. There's some men who are so pussy whipped, their women just find them boring. So also being a very nice guy.
This idea of pussy whipped, what does it exactly mean?
It means you're a yes man. It means you never take charge. And sometimes a woman just likes you to take charge. Be a man. That's why I'm with you. Otherwise, I could have bought a kitten. Be a man. Sometimes just say no. Don't agree with me all the time. She'll get pissed off, But if you agree with that, you'll get pissed off. But being a man is part of, you know what, I got pissed off with him, but he's man enough to disagree with me. He's man enough to say, no, we're not going that direction, we're going that direction. And she's annoyed, but inside she's saying, well, this is my man. Whereas if you keep saying yes, she's thinking, why am I with you if you can never make a decision?
We're going to revisit this idea of the power balance between a man and a woman in a relationship. Please remind me if I forget. But we want to,
power balance.
Yeah,
right.
We want to stay in the dating scene.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the idea of who does what.
Right.
Because I don't know, men are supposed to be the one who says, okay, let's go for coffee, and the lady says where, okay, and then when they are going, it is the man who comes and picks her, and then goes and draws and then opens the door. When they arrive at the destination, he goes around and opens the door again.
Why is he opening the door? Doesn't she have hands?
No, let me tell you how it goes, Mr. Matheka. Listen.
Yes.
So we go there into the restaurant, and then he draws the chair out.
Draws the chair.
You know?
Wow.
Draws the chair out,
Okay.
and the lady sits and then pulls it.
Pushes
it in,
back. Right. Okay.
And then the guy will come.
Yes.
The waiter will come, or the waitress
Yes.
will come and then serve, and then the waiter or the waitress will bring the bill right in front of the man.
Right. Okay.
And you see how this thing happens. And then, so if you're a man, you know, in most cases, if you are doing those things, opening doors and closing them, and drawing chairs and bringing in the flowers, then they call you a gentleman. So I want, probably you could.
Which to me means nothing. It's just a word.
Well, address it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you've described is the traditional sense of what a man should be. Depending on your social circles, your class, because we can't get away from that, there are different things that men do versus what women do. There are women today who ask men out for dates, and the date goes very well. So the traditional sense is a man is supposed to plan everything, but there are women today who take you out on a date. They can. They know how to do it. They know how to present themselves. And the man feels like, wow, she's pampering me. There are men who are like that. So it also depends on who you're talking about. There's a guy who, what you've just described, that's what makes him feel like a man. Personally, I like a woman who can also do that for me. Because then that for me is like it's a need. Like if I have to pull chairs, first, I'm not a believer of pulling chairs if you are not taught to pull them. Don't pull a chair to impress her. Pull them because it's something you did from when you were 14, 15, 16, depending on where you grew up. But just don't do it to impress her. Why? It's because it's got nothing to do with holding the door and her going through all the chair and stuff like that. My problem is you're not going to manage it long term. So she'll always reference, you used to pull chairs. What happened? Did your hands become weaker? No. What happened was he was doing that to impress you. Once he landed you, that vanished. So I always tell men, be who you are. There'll always be a woman who understands who you are. There's a guy who will never be romantic, but there's a woman who loves that guy. Because also being romantic is a bit overrated. Do you know why? Because why are men normally romantic on one day of the year? And you know which day that is. Be consistent. Like, for example, there are women who I meet and they tell me, well, I've never met a guy who cooks. Like, whenever I go to this guy's house, he literally cooks, like, decent food. And sometimes it's like a, 3-course meal, there's dessert, blah, blah. Like, is this guy showing me, like, he likes me? And I'm like, no, it's probably his lifestyle. Number one, he has a passion for cooking. Number two, he cooks because he has to eat at some point. Otherwise, he'll die. So why you've romanticized that, I don't know. But that tells me that there's another scope of there are men who don't cook. We're not here to judge men. There are those men who cook and there are those men who don't cook. The thing is this. It means we have this disproportion of men who do certain things and they're called romantic, and there are men who don't and they're not romantic. For example, a guy who came from the village, he probably never saw movies of people kissing, or his own parents kissing, or his network of older people kissing. Now, when he comes to Nairobi and he meets a girl who's probably read Mills and Boons and all these romance books, and she watches all these things unfolding on TV, she goes like, my boyfriend, he's not romantic because he doesn't hug me when we're sleeping, then I have to ask her, have you measured your temperature? Maybe you're very hot at night. And I'm talking as a man. Sometimes you're trying to hug your girl, but the heat will kill you. So you're thinking, should I die or hug? Let's survive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah? And then once I profile where the guy is from, yeah, I have to tell her, this guy is, it's not that he's not romantic. What you classify as romantic, he's never seen that. Like, this guy's never taken me for a nice dinner. Where? Seafood.
What you're saying, is
yes.
correctly, is that
yes.
know the man.
Sorry?
Know the man.
Know the man, and let's not try chiseling each other into what we think the other should be. Do you know what I'm saying? If I find a woman who I can clearly see, we can be pals, but I don't think we can have a relationship, I'll leave it at that. But now if I try and strung her along and sell her a good game, then the only person who made her fall in love was me. So I'm at fault. It's also good that both men and women, sometimes you look at your relationship and go, you know what, if it wasn't for me playing my A game all the time and bullshitting this person, we would not be down this road 11 years later. So sometimes our foundations are based on deceit, rather than if I just told that person the truth. For example, men always ask me, should I basically ask for sex, or should it just play along? And I usually say, when you're flirting, you'll tell while you're gelling. You don't necessarily have to go like, at some point, you breathe out. You're like, okay, here goes. I want sex from you today. You don't have to do that. That might not even work. She might even find that very disrespectful. Yeah, because it's like, are you giving it or not? Because I think we've talked too much, and that's not where you're going. So sometimes you can tell a vibe, and we're very good at reading vibe, depending on how experienced you are. So you can tell if this is going to work out or not. The problem is we force things because we're thinking it's easier the devil I'm sat with. Why do I need to go for others and bring them here and have the same date, the same cost? But guess what? If you have to look at the cost, then you shouldn't be dating anyone.
So, still on dating.
Yes.
The man is complaining.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going out on these dates, and this lady is not doing anything.
What does that mean?
If you're supposed to go for Airbnb, I'm the one who is paying for the Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Art Cafe, I'm the one who is paying for the coffee.
Yes.
I'm the one who is basically it looks like I'm the one who wants it.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, for how long is this gonna go? I mean, so the question I want to ask you is that these men who are having this problem of, you know, if we're going to Mombasa, we're not married, I'm the one who's paying for everything. If we go to Art Cafe, I'm the one who's paying for everything. If we go for a picnic, I'm the one who's paying for everything. I buy the one, I buy everything. She just comes every now and again. She just comes with her pass.
Yeah, but
never opens it.
Okay.
Yeah. Just wants to be there, to be taken care of, like another guy told me, like a child.
Well, one thing I can tell you is this. From what you've said, that guy is trying too hard. You've not found a friend. And then you also have to look at the pool of women that you are courting. Can she afford to buy you that dinner? Let's just start there. I'm not defending women. I'm just saying, as men, sometimes we're the ones who put ourselves in this shit when you're going for women you can manage. You're going for the woman who asks you for fare. How is she then going to take you to Serena? She won't. But there's another woman, let's say you work, you earn. There's another woman earns, and when you guys are buddies, she will take you to a resort in Zanzibar, paid. She'll just tell you, on Thursday, at this time, be at the airport and don't ask too many questions. When you get to the airport, she tells you, voila, surprise, I'm taking my man to Zanzibar. Such women exist. So all I can tell those men is, sorry?
Are they many?
I haven't counted them, but they're there. But then guess what? They're there when you and them get to a stage where we're not just in a relationship lovey-dovey, we're literal friends. Lovey-dovey is overrated. We need to be friends because
that's an important place to arrive at.
we need to be friends because I can tell you this, most guys that I've seen struggling with that woman, the problem with that guy is he likes that woman more than she likes him. He wakes up knowing if I don't do this for her, some other guy will. He needs to ask himself, so what? He needs to tell her, you know what? Me, I'm broke. I don't have money. So are you taking me out or not? To see what she does.
Yeah.
If she suddenly blocks him, I was with the wrong woman. Why are you struggling with one woman when clearly you're the only person in this struggle? She probably goes to tell her girlfriends, that guy is such an idiot. You should see all the things he's whispering at me at night and I have to pretend I'm part of this plan of this. I'm just using him because he offers stuff. Babe, do you want to go here? Yes.
The women can see through this?
Who?
The women can see through.
Women are not stupid.
I didn't say that.
Women are not stupid. Women see a lot of things. We see a lot of things. The problem is we see red flags, but you tell yourself, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to make her love me. No. Don't make her love you. Make her become your friend. Friendships cause relationships to go for longer. Love is for today. Tomorrow, it may look very different. Next week, I may not feel that love I told you about. But if next week I'm your friend, I'll resent you for something you said, but we're still buddies. And that's why you and I, as men, can have an argument over a woman, but still go and have a drink. But if either of us are a woman and we're having an heterosexual relationship, you and I can do silent treatment for a month. So which friendship is friendship?
You are taking dinner. You've gone out for a date.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
As you say, taking dinner.
Yeah.
The bill comes.
Yes.
Do you think as a man you can say, what are we doing about this bill?
Okay, let's put it this way. Look at it this way.
Yeah.
If you're brought up in the Africanized version of this, then you're used to paying your way. Yes? I did a lot of growing up abroad. So one thing I can tell you is I was used to going Dutch, which means we go for lunch and it's 50-50, or I pay for the lunch, but she will literally tell you, I don't want to look like I'm using you, so next time we do lunch, I'm paying. It's a cultural thing. It's not a man should pay, woman should pay. It's a cultural. So it depends which culture you're in. For example, in Kenya, we just think that the only men we have, or the only dynamic we have, is where men pay for everything. There are guys in a certain social class in Kenya who are used to women taking them out for dinner. Because she's like, hey, you've already done 2. I need to catch up. She's doing this because this is what friendship looks like for them. She's not doing it because she has to or she's been forced to. She just wants to. Then we have another culture, whether you subscribe to it or not, is where, Maurice, me, I'm the woman, you're the gentleman, or you're the man. If you can't see that this is not worth dinner and lunch, why are you asking me out? When we go somewhere, I'm never going to pay for anything, even though I have money. I may even have more money than you. But as long as we're going out for dinner or lunch, you are the man, you pay. Now, the question is, I can't bitch about that woman if I've subscribed to her, and that's not my thing. I should then, and that's what I was saying, bigger pool of courting and dating, then you meet your tribe of people. Do you know what I'm saying? And tribe is like-minded people. So I want to meet women who are able to say, I can literally take you out on a date. And I'm fine. I love being pampered. We all love being pampered. It's not just a female thing. But we pretend with this masculinity that because we're paying stuff that we're in charge. We're not. How many men have paid for stuff and still gone home to masturbate? So I think it should not be a gender thing. It should be based on what tribe are you subscribing to. I subscribe to a tribe where women don't mind pampering me. I want to pamper, but I don't pamper because I'm a man. That does not make me feel like a man. To be honest, if there was a rule in Kenya that as a man you have to pay every time you go out with a woman because it is a constitutional thing, I would leave this country. or I'll be the champion of masturbation. Yes, because now what you've done is you're devaluing the penis. And I don't subscribe to that. Hence why we are Team Masimba.
Is it not devalued in the society today?
It is already devalued. We have no value. Penises have no value. We just have responsibilities. We have no value at all. Vaginas have value.
Expound.
If you're sent a photo on your phone by a woman you've been chatting to, and she's in Eldoret, and she tells you she wants this vagina to be licked, there's a high chance that a man will look at his car and go like, let's fuel you, let's go to Eldoret. Now, a woman is in Eldoret, and you send her a dick pic. Do you think she's going to drive to Nairobi to meet your dick?
She should.
No, that's what you think. And that's why you had to say she should. Women know they have power over us and always will. Men have driven very far for her phone to go Mteja just as he gets to the town.
Her phone?
Yes. See, she's been calling you. I live in Nakuru, come over. As you fika Nakuru, her phone goes Mteja. You had not asked her for PIN. So now you're in Nakuru with your imaginary woman. What will most men do? They're not going to share this story with their men friends.
No.
They're going to go to the nearest club and get a replacement. There's no way I'm going all the way to Nakuru. Yes, because by the time you were driving there, you had a hard-on that was paining you. Do you know what I'm saying? So now you're in Nakuru and you're thinking everything you had planned had collapsed. But why are you in Nakuru? That's what we're discussing. Because she has the power. She has power. And women will always have power. The difference is... No. They do. And that's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes I have to teach them how to use it. Between us and women, they have power over us. That's just fact. Any man who does not understand that is an idiot. And there's plenty of those. We're not in control. We're not in control. Look at you. You're a big nigger, correct?
Yeah.
But you can look at your, like, hey, dudes, I have to go. I'll be in trouble with mama. And how she's quarter your size. Why are you so afraid of her?
Oh.
There you go.
Where do they get it from?
We give it to them. Because they're women. We're designed to give it to them.
Talk to me about the psychologies around it.
Why is it that every time you see a woman, you just smile? Why do you smile? She didn't crack a joke. Why are you smiling? When you see a dude, did you smile at a dude? You don't smile at a dude because you know how he's going to look at you. Why are you smiling, nigga? Why are you smiling at me? But every time you see a woman, or a woman tells you, hey, can you carry this for me? You carry. You don't even know if there's a bomb. But when a dude tells you, hey, dude, can you get that back? You look at him like, you're sending me? Like, what? It's our design. It's who we are. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's only a bad thing if you let it rule you. Sometimes you got to step back and go like, is she worth my time? The same way women ask, is he worth my time? But there's something that is, it also goes with a lot of men. They think with their penis, not with their conscious mind. That's why you pick up her bag. But you have this persona of, I'm just being a gentleman. But no, because gentlemen also can help another gentleman. But you don't do that. You only help a woman. So women have power. They just don't know how to use it. However, if you look at the side chick phenomena, she knows how to twist stuff like that. Your wife can tell you that we are going to Nakuru as a family 2 weeks from now. And you find a way to make sure that trip does not happen. But if your side chick tells you you need to drop everything you're doing and you have to take me to Nakuru, suddenly you have some free time. Why? Because we value one opposed to the other. One is based on fun. The side chick. We're going to have a lot of fun in Nakuru. Nakuru is going to be crazy. It's not even spontaneous, but it feels spontaneous. The family gathering is family. You don't associate any excitement with it, which is a bit unfortunate, which means you and your partner are not in the scope of things of finding some lustful matter towards one another. But that's a discussion for another day. So you've got to look at behaviors based on where they're coming from.
Okay, let's move on. So now, you're dating, you're loving it, it's my body, I'm feeling nice about it, taking it to the next step. There's one guy who is looking at marriage.
Okay.
There's another guy who's not looking at anything.
Right.
Beyond satisfaction, a little bit of satisfaction, a little bit of fun.
Yes.
And then, I don't know if you know about what women look for in a relationship, whether they're looking for the sex, whether they're looking for the fun, or a majority of them, when they enter that trend, they want to sort of like, I want something bigger.
Well, having dealt with women for a very long time, I can tell you one thing for sure, especially those women who were married a bit earlier, like maybe in their early 20s and stuff. Sex is not an obligation, as in it's not in the forefront of things. If the passion is there, the compatibility is there, well and good, it's a bonus, but it's not one of the highest criteria she chooses. One, she's just looking for, is he a guy, number one, who qualifies to be invited to meet my parents? Let's just start there. That's why we know so many friends who are declined by the parents. So they decided to elope, or that relationship just died. So your first qualification is, do her extended family agree with your merger? After that, she's hoping that you're not a bum. You just don't sit around and hope for shit to happen. You either work or you have a business and you're projecting. And sometimes women can literally see that this guy is a bit lost. Now that I've met him, he's a bit lost. But with my help, I'll put him on the right trajectory. And that's why sometimes you'll find some men saying, if it wasn't for my wife, I would not be the man that I am today. So that's a story to tell. Does it always work for everyone? No, but we all aspire for things. We just don't know whether those things will work out the way we want. Do you see what I'm saying? Plus, things evolve. I meet a lot of women who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they always tell me, when I was 20 versus now that I'm 38, my likes have changed. When I met my husband, he was clean cut. He was the epitome of what a husband needs to look like. He had a job, he had money, disposable cash. If we had kids, they look cute like him. He could afford to take my kids to the schooling system that I want. But today, I'm all grown up. I'm not that little girl anymore. I don't find him as attractive. I still love the guy, but whenever he tells me, can we go out of town? I cringe. Why? Because I'm thinking, I spend all the time in the same house with you. I don't want to go out of town with you. So what she's saying is, how we feel about one another fluctuates, and that's just life. This ideology that love lasts forever is crap. I can care for you for a very long time, but it doesn't mean that I'm always going to be wanting your space. And that's why I always tell people that it's important in any relationship, give each other space. If I see you every day, I'll find something to resent, or I'll just find you boring. It's like you can't eat the same dish every day. And I'm not talking about people straying to have sexual relations with other people. I'm just saying you need your own space. Yeah? But the problem now is abroad, people have hobbies, like real hobbies. They cycle, they run, they go canoeing, scuba diving. You know what Kenyans like? We like drinking and scuba diving into one another. So it's not very helpful, the hobbies we have. Drinking, more scuba diving into one another. Instead of scuba diving in the sea or in a pool or something. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I tell Kenyans, let's go camping, and then we hunt for stuff, we go fishing. Dude, do I look like a Mzungu? You want us to go fishing? Like for Mama's armor for fish. You see, if you have to ask that question, if you have to ask that question, then clearly you don't understand what hobbies look like. Yeah? In our CVs, we always say we have hobbies. All those CVs are like, the guys, do you like traveling? When was the last day? Traveling can't be entering a mat from Jobo to your place. Traveling can't be going to your local. That's not traveling. Do you say it? I'm very adventurous. Adventurous cannot be puking because you're very high. That's not adventure. Do you say? How many guys you know like going canoeing? Or they own a boat, even if it's made of wood? How many guys do you know?
No. They say it's for, one of the things that I really like is traveling out of the country.
Right.
I find the men who have not even gone to Uganda.
Yes.
And they think that...
Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yet they're just our neighbors. Uganda, TZ. Very beautiful countries. Instead of drinking at your local and spending 50 Gs, go explore Uganda. Go to TZ. I was discussing, usually I tell young people, instead of straying to this conveyor belt of hoping to find a husband or a wife, you're 21. Save money and go backpacking somewhere. Just TZ. Come back. Uganda. Come back. It's inexpensive. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like it's complicated to go over. They're basically in our community, so why not go over? But people would rather just spend money in a bar in Nairobi. And there's so much else to do.
Yeah.
And it expands your mind when you meet new cultures, new exposure, but we're not socialized to think like that.
Okay. We have questions.
Right.
From your online community. TikTokers asking you questions.
Hey, TikTok!
Yes. Oh, okay. So these are TikTok guys. I want you guys to ask questions to Mr. Matheka is here. If you have questions, I don't know, how are you going to see those questions, by the way? Huh? I've not activated you. Okay. Then they should just enjoy. I have a question that I asked.
Yes.
So the first question that they asked me is that I have dry sex and it's painful.
Right.
What is going on here? What is going on?
I'm assuming those are women.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got dry sex, yes.
Yes.
And I don't know why I'm having dry sex. So at some point it is very, very painful.
Okay. Well, the simple version is the dryness is dryness of the vagina during intercourse. And she may be thinking that she has a problem because her vagina is dry, and she has a problem because she likes the guy or she loves the guy, so things should automatically work. All I can tell the women is your vagina will be dry if it is not receiving the sexual stimulus that causes this to start producing what we call sexual fluids, which sometimes are very creamy. They look like yogurt or they look like milk. That's induced by a certain level of stimulus. I think a lot of women have experienced this where maybe they're at work and they have this mental seductive thought of what they want to do when they get home with their man, and then suddenly they're very wet. Their panty liner is wet and everything, but when they get home and start having the sex, they realize that the wetness that they had in the office when they had that thought is not happening when they're actually having the sex. And that's because our minds can fabricate what we desire. You see what I'm saying? It's like if you think of a woman, you might get an erection. And you meet the woman, she opens her mouth, and there's no erection. So our minds can also fabricate something which does not align with what actually happens when you get into the deed. So all that's happening is their vaginas are not receiving the stimulus that they should. But what I've found is when I have sessions where I condition a woman's vagina, I teach the vagina not to be reliant on just the man's stimulus. So it's like the vagina has been kitted with its own way of mechanism. Make sense? Whereas for most women, rely on that man's ability, which should not be the case. Do you see what I'm saying? There are reasons why pockets of the world where women are taught how to own their sexuality, how to own their vagina function. So when the vagina is conditioned, she will not be wet because she owns the ability. She's not reliant on the man. Does that make sense? Mm. And that's the only thing that's worked. It's worked for 2 decades now.
There is somebody who said that it kept talking about conditioning.
Yes. Who?
You.
Yes.
Kept talking about conditioning.
No, you said somebody, and I was like, that must be me. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then they were wondering,
yes.
What exactly do you mean by conditioning? Because it's a word that doesn't conjure any meaning for them. What exactly is conditioning the V?
Okay, when you take your car to a garage for tuning, you want the engine to run well, correct? So the unfortunate thing is for most women, their vaginas are designed for procreational sex, not recreational sex. So it doesn't matter what prowess you have, you as a man can...
So can you now explain the...
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yes.
Yes, so you as a man, let's assume you think you have good game, even though you may have good game, whatever that looks like, her vagina will not respond because inside the vagina, there's a membrane they call the G-spot, which is just flesh tissue. That tissue needs to swell like a balloon during sex. For a lot of women around the world, it's not just a Kenyan thing, it never swells. So she's never known an orgasm. She's even been with multiple partners, but no orgasm. So that says it's not based on the partners, it's based on ownership. That's why you find Kenyan men just flying over to our neighbors like Uganda, having a great weekend, coming back with these stories of, we met these Ugandan women from a certain region in Uganda, and they were just having multiple orgasms and squirting, even their beds, their Airbnbs, the beds, they have Macintoshes. Why do they have Macintoshes? Because women there, their vaginas are conditioned to be able to have an orgasm that causes them to squirt. But now, we're back to the conditioning. They're conditioned. They're not by default. All that we've done as humans is we've evolved from procreational sex to create children to sex for fun, which is called recreational sex. And that's all we've done. So if this was about procreation, these questions will be neither there nor there, because the man just needs to ejaculate his semen and hope they can run up that channel and get to the egg. But now that we're discussing recreational sex, there has to be now the science behind how does a woman own her ability to enjoy it. And it's not from us. Women get their orgasms from the vagina, not from men. And men keep challenging me. Then I tell them, well, until you own a vagina, why are you challenging me? It's as simple as that. And the reason is because men talk about sex with their ego. Like, I'm the best. Like, every man is good in bed until a woman tells him he's not. That's just fact. Do you see what I'm saying? He doesn't have to fuck the wall. He's usually gauged by a woman what he can do.
So the conditioning, what is done?
So so what is done is that membrane is trained to swell. So I train it to swell. I take the woman through her vagina. She understands where her G-spot is, because also a lot of women don't even think they have a G-spot, or they think it moves around, like it takes a vacation, goes towards the nose or something. That would be really crazy, probably kill you. So it doesn't move around. It stays in the same place. It's just like your nose. Your nose will never take a vacation to meet your penis. If it does, you're in trouble. So that membrane, I basically train it how to expand. When it starts to expand during sexual contact, she starts to have an orgasm because the membrane starts to massage the girth. And as we said before, the girth is the circumference of the penis. There's nothing romantic about sex. It's all science. I could bore the hell out of you when it comes to science. But it's about science. It's not about I'm the best in bed. That's nonsense. If you're best in bed, like I said before, you're a boy. Know what you're doing, know the vagina, then you'll be good at what you're doing. That make sense?
Yeah.
So once that membrane starts to swell, she starts to have orgasms. And that's what's happened with the 6,300 women that I've taught now.
Now, there's a statement that you said that was very controversial.
Which was?
That a woman starts to be tastier at 40 years old, the maturity that comes, towards the 30s. You talked about the texture of it. You talked about there is something else, I forget the word. A lot of people were like, what exactly does he mean by this? What exactly do you mean tastier? What does tastier mean? In fact, one man from America said, define tastier.
Okay.
Define texture.
Well, we were having a bit of banter, so I thought that the word tastier just makes things tastier.
Spicy.
And I like it, yeah. If you tell me you've got a tasty vagina, I think that things are going to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you tell me you're not too sure about the taste, then don't know why I should be delving. So what I was trying to say basically is the vagina is a muscle. Can we all agree? If you cut it out of the woman, it's a muscle. Correct? If you put it to a butcher, if you didn't know what a vagina looks like, he'd probably make some steak out of it. But it's a muscle. So that muscle within it has your tract system. And your tract system has a little pores. But the G-spot area has a lot of nerve endings. Those nerve endings get stimulus from the penis. Are you with me? Because if a woman just sat down by herself, it's rare that she'll start having orgasms. Though there are women who can trigger that, but that's not the conversation. So once she starts to get stimulus, her G-spot starts to swell. As she matures, her entire vulvar structure matures. It's like, for example, if you look at your penis when you were 14, don't know if you can remember it, versus now, it's changed. True or false? Yes?
Yes.
Mine has definitely changed. Now mine, I can look at it and go, what's up, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Whereas when I was a bit younger, I used to question it. What's wrong with you? Are we going to do any better? Yeah, but now, you know what I'm saying? Now, nigga is a mandingo. But he had to go up through a process. And now most women, like I said before, early bloomers 29, late bloomers 35. So women in their 40s, what will minus their tastier vaginas being explored is our perceptions. One, if you look at an African setting, it may happen in other places, but we're in Africa right now, we decommission vaginas. We have this belief that auntie should not be having sex because she's 40, 50. Only guys in their 20s should be having sex. That's crap. That's what we were taught. Yet there are women who are in their 70s, who are my clients today, who are having orgasms. But they live in a different classification where it's acceptable. Do you know what I'm saying? When we go to Shags to see Shush, she's surrounded by so many people. Her vagina is not accessible. Do you know what I'm saying? She's like secondary virginity. So if our attitudes are reason why we can't taste these things, we have a perception of an older woman versus a younger woman. Yet, we've not been taught that the vagina of the older woman feels better. Do you know what I'm saying? To some degree, it's even warmer. Do you know what I'm saying? When you penetrate the vagina, you can tell warmth. The men who can. You get what I'm saying? And we're not taught that. So we're only taught the only viable women and the most exciting women are in their 20s. And there's nothing wrong with women in their 20s. I'm just saying that the vagina itself, not necessarily the woman, because we all know a woman may have an amazing vagina. Once she opens her mouth, you do not want to enter it. Do you know what I'm saying? So attitudes also can deter you from the tasty vagina. But all I was saying is, as a vulva, as a muscle, the maturer a woman is, the better the structure. Do you know what I'm saying? Their vaginas are like wine and whiskey. They get better with age. It's as simple as that.
Those are facts.
Those are facts. And the funny thing is this, I'm having young guys telling me, yeah, preach on. And when I look at the profile, I can see this is a young guy. But the older guys are texting me, dude, you should meet my wife. She's so traditional. No. I don't want to meet your wife. I'm talking about her vagina. The reason why your wife is traditional is because of how you and her gel. Your hierarchy of how you manage your home is why you have that perception of your wife. If I met her vagina, I'd probably see a very different woman. But I'm just talking about her muscle as a vagina. I'm not talking about attitude. Do you see what I'm saying? The same way today, even a young woman who's amazingly pretty, you take her on a date, you've been seeing her profile, and her profile just makes you go crazy. But the minute you have a conversation with her for 15 minutes, you realize she's not as interesting. Do you see what I'm saying?
Sometimes I feel emotional after sex and actually cry.
Okay.
It's embarrassing, but is it normal?
It's not, no. There's nothing embarrassing about having an emotion. If somebody hit you really hard and you felt like crying, that means that's the emotion at that point that your body wants you to have. So if you usually cry, it means your body is going through certain neurochemicals that are causing you to become emotional, and you're allowed to cry. The problem is we have so many rules about when you should cry, why should you cry. You feel like crying, cry. It's like, for example, when men call me up and say, I met this woman, and when I'm inside her, she really screams. I'm like, dude, that should not be a complaint. There are men who have never heard a scream. Never. Never. All they hear is just dogs barking. So maybe you should go out and play with the dogs. So if you can cause a woman to scream, and it's not a fake scream, you should be very proud of yourself. She's feeling your girth while others can't feel nothing. You know what I mean? We've got too many rules. So whoever says that when I'm having sex, I get emotional, you're allowed to be emotional. It's like when men are told we're not allowed to be weak because having an emotion is weak. Yet you get a woman who tells you, I hope you love me. Have you ever told her, no, I can't love you because I'm weak? Or loving you will make me weak? You don't do that. So whatever emotion you're feeling, just go with it. Let's stop society controlling how we feel. Don't let society make you think certain things. If there are things you desire and you want to explore for you. The same society is doing it behind your back anyway. You see what I'm saying? So please, just tell them that...
sometimes I feel like I have cramps after sex, but I'm not on my periods.
Right.
Yeah.
She can go and see a gyna. But the question is, how often? There might be an underlying issue, and only a gynecologist can tell her that.
Yeah. Some people...
Yes.
Some people say that that once a woman has the first child, the second child, their vaginas begin to enlarge. Is this a myth or is it a fact?
Oh, some men are gonna hate me for this. To be honest, the only time the vagina has ever expanded is if the woman had a tear and the repair was not done well. But having seen thousands of vaginas, what I can tell you confidently is that story is only by men who have small penises. That's not our fault.
The ones without the girth.
Yes. If you don't have girth, don't blame vaginas for that stuff. If you do not, you see, and the reason why I'm smiling is I'm old enough to say this. When I was in my 20s, I knew this stuff, but I couldn't because I was thinking all the older guys will put me down. Now, dude, do something to your penis. It's your problem. It's not hers. Her vagina has not swollen. Your mentality towards your penis has. And men, it's a conversation we really need to have. Our penises do not always have the flow of blood we want it to have. Fact. Especially in our homes. If you and your mama don't know how to tease one another, your brain will tell you one thing, but your penis will check out. You want to give her an amazing time, but you're looking at your boy and your boy is looking back at you and telling you, us guys are not in this program. Some men even know that once you have this erection and she can see it and she's like, ooh, you look good today. But the minute you penetrate her, you see him shriveling. You can feel him. And you're there going like, no, don't do. Where are you going? Where are you going? Why? Maybe you forced him to enter there. He was not in the mood. You were in the mood. Maybe your entire, the mechanic that led you to the sex, the foundation was weak. Do you know what I'm saying? maybe you penetrated her, then you remembered she called you an idiot last week. You know what I'm saying? The same way a woman, you penetrate her, that you remembered, you're such a dog. When you're inside me, do you think about the other woman? See, we all have these psychological things happening, so it's not really about the vagina. That I can tell you. Unless there's an underlying issue, vaginas contract back to size. Because I've met women who have given birth to a lot of children and their vaginas go back to size.
Great.
If you have a small penis, that's not our problem. You and your penis need to have a debate on how you can prove that. Hakuna pole pole. No. We were told as men we have to take some stuff. This is the stuff we need to take. Yeah. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to just give you facts.
You talked in your last video too much about eating the thing.
Oh, I thought I talked less. Eating vagina is so good.
No, you listen to the
it's better than eating ugali and chapati. You have no idea. It's like eating creamy mushrooms.
So now, I don't know about that. My problem with
your problem with eating vagina.
Eating vagina is the hygiene of it. Number 2,
the hygiene.
Why is it salty?
Why is vagina salty?
Yeah.
You've asked that question like all vaginas are salty.
He's the one asking. I don't know.
Fine. Yeah, but you see, you're also a man. So are you trying to tell me you've never seen a vagina? You have. So let's not make it about the guy who asked a question.
Yeah.
All I can say is this: there are women who take care of their hygiene, and there are women who don't. If the vagina is not in the right pH, then there might be issues. So it's down to that vagina and the woman who has the vagina. It's also down to you in terms of, are you even having that communique? Do you see what I'm saying? And when I was talking about vagina, I was not talking about every man needs to go down on every vagina. That's like saying every woman should give us a blowjob. It just depends on who you're with and how you're feeling and how you gel and how far you want to go with your kinks. It's as simple as that. So no one deserves anything. You can just give and offer each other that pleasure if you want. Does that make sense? If indeed he has that issue, he needs to talk to her. She's the possessor of the vagina. And there's nothing wrong with talking about, it's the same way if you as a man want a woman to give you oral sex and she happens to taste your semen is a bit tangy, you can then go on a diet of celery and watermelon being 30% and celery 70%, and make it a lifestyle. And at some point, your penis taste will change. It'll be sweeter. But you've got to do something about it. So you cannot go down a vagina, find it salty, and then bitch. A real man goes and tells her, you know what, I think there's something not working down there. You either see your gyna or you research. Yogurt's really good. That's not flavored. Yogurt's very good for the vagina. It actually introduces good bacteria to the vagina. So you do your own research. You know what I'm saying? But don't bitch about it. Just do research. And don't expect us to do the research for you, because we're not the ones sucking the vagina, it's you. Put some effort into it. I always find strange when people ask a question and then I'm like, don't you have Google? Or are you banned from Google? I've never seen anyone being banned from Google. So do your own research.
Maybe they trust you, they don't trust Google.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is, because I get that question a lot, sometimes do your own research. Do you know why? Because she'll know you care. Why are you always sending out to the gyna? Maybe it's just yogurt that she needed and you put in the effort. Babe, I've been reading, whether you're right or not, it's the fact that you took time. Wow, you really care about this vagina. And you should. You like being there a lot. You know what I'm saying? But you can't sit down and go like, you know, a vagina is salty. Yeah, but you salt your food. How come you're not complaining about that salt? And that's the worst salt. At least this one is natural. This one is unhealthy. Why are you putting unhealthy salt in your body? And you're complaining about the natural one.
This interview is over. So thank you very much, Mr. Matheka.
Hey, it's always fun, man. It's always fun.
We can't finish without look at these guys and tell them the services that you offer.
Hey guys, it's always fun to be with this guy. I have a lot of fun on this podcast. You can find me on IG, Maurice Matheka, on Facebook. You can go to my website, which is mauricetherapy.com. I'm very approachable. If you go to IG or Facebook, you can inbox me, but especially IG, inbox me and I will respond at some point. I get busy, so I do check my messages and stuff like that. If you find my number, text me on WhatsApp, but please don't say just hi. I don't want us to do like hi, then hi. No. It's like we've got some speech impediment. No, just tell me your name and what you need and stuff like that, and we take it from there. Dude, thank you very much for inviting me again. We'll do many more, man.
Oh, yeah.
Many more.
Your website. What is the name of your website?
MauriceTherapy.com.
MauriceTherapy.com.
Yes, but IG is the best place to find me. Or on Facebook, get my number, and then I like most conversation on WhatsApp. That's the best place for us to have a conversation.
So let me finish with the guys on YouTube. So people of the internet, thank you very much for once again, joining me and Matheka, or Matheka and I.
Matheka and I, oh my God, that's the British in you.
For this beautiful conversation. I mean, at Dialogues with Jekero, Mr. Matheka, we want us to have these bold conversations.
Yes, we do.
Be free.
We do. We do.
And I want to thank you, man, for blowing up my TikTok.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Blow it up, and even YouTube. I'm monetized.
I know.
Yeah?
You're that guy.
You want some?
you better give me some.
Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment, and tap on that notification bell. Until another time, thank you and bye for now.
See you guys.
Of TikTok, thank you very much. It was nice having you guys.
Yo.
Yes.
Hey, cheers, man. Take care.